Uh, so I want to discuss the ban on THC products in Texas. I'm not gonna have the opinion that you guys think I'm gonna have. I think that I'm for states' rights. So if a state wants to ban abortion, cool. If a state wants to ban marijuana, fine. If a state wants to ban alcohol, cool. I'm for the federal government decriminalizing it. Because if the federal government decriminalizes it, it'll make it more like employers won't make a big deal out of it. Like currently, so I haven't smoked weed for a month now. This last weekend um, was my four weekends in a row without having weed, and oh, that's not a big deal. Well, there's not much for me to do on the weekends, so I like to do that on the weekends, especially. Um, Sometimes I would integrate fasting with it, so I would. It's really hard to uh, start. So basically, on Thursday is when I would cut myself off. Then I'd work the whole day of Friday, come home, and like if I do that, like because I do that like basically all week, but I want to eat. But if I have something that's stimulating me, it makes it easier. And I know it's kind of weird. Oh, whatever. It could be just a mental thing. So the whole thing with I think it's stupid. I think that they're dumb. I think that Texas is going to lose a lot of money, and in fact, they're going to have to inject. They're actually going to go backwards. Not only are they going to lose out on taxing these dispensaries and these small companies and getting extra revenue, they're going to have to spend more on the prison systems to incarcerate people. um, so it's like they want to. I think that they're. I think it's the prisons, and I also think it's the uh, alcohol companies, possibly the cigarette companies as well, that are orchestrating these politicians. Because what does it really matter? Like you're telling me that you were fine with me drinking. You would rather me drink. I can drink so much that I die. I can overdose and die. I can't do that from weed. I get so drunk that I just can't control myself. I don't care. It's almost like they want criminals. You know what I mean? They try to say this, oh, it's social lubrication, and you go, it's like, um, alcohol, it does have a letting go, so things can feel more fun. Same thing with weed, because reality is boring. It's boring. I think weed makes things more interesting. And they're both depressants. Alcohol's a depressant, and so is weed. Um, Sativa, that's it gives you it, I can tell the difference between sativa and indica. So when I was working at the corn mill, I would use sativa to get through my shift. Yeah, I was getting high at work. hmm And I obviously stopped before I had to drive home. And then to get me to go to sleep, and then so I would take indica to help me go to sleep. And since the sleep schedule is all messed up, Sometimes I would wake up after 4 hours and couldn't go back to sleep. Well, I would hit a sativa pen and then just be knocked right out. So it there's a lot of benefits for people who uh, smoke weed or whatever. For somebody like me, it calms me down. I have ADHD. It calms my mind. It makes me feel regular. You know what I mean? But they want me to sit here and drink alcohol. That's what they want me to do. They want me to buy alcohol. Um, and I don't like the person I am when I'm drinking. I don't like it. I become mean. Like I said, I can't control my shadow. But anyway, you just don't care. You just really don't care. So, you know, I think it's all about states' rights. If Texas wants to go ahead and ban it, you know, whatever. You're stupid. I think that they're stupid. I think that, you know, I'm seeing stuff on the internet. I don't know if it's true. Some people are saying, and I've seen it repeatedly. So, 70% of people voted to legalize it, and you know, these politicians just do whatever they want. This is what I'm talking about. Even though, like, I'm not against data centers, you know, when people vote against having them in their community, like, and they get forced to have them anyway, like, we're controlled by the rich. We have no say so in anything. That's what I'm saying. We need to scrap this whole government. This government is just complete trash. You know, it's all about, like, I think that people view the government as some type of freedom. You have the illusion of having a say so, and I think that some people should even have a say so if you're on government benefits, if you're not like, basically, if you're not contributing to society, you really shouldn't be voting. There's a lot of people who really don't pay attention, and they farm their votes, and it's just, the system is just done. I think that we all acknowledge that the system that we have, which intended to be good, but they've corrupted it. The elites, they've ruined it. Everything that is being ruined by the rich. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed everything being ruined by these people? You know, and I'm supposed to sit here and defend, oh, because they provide jobs. Hey, listen. Without those jobs, we would come out with pitchforks and come after them, and they would be massive targets. So they have to create jobs, you know, or because they're massive, dude, they're parasites. These people are parasites. And I can't stand them. I'm not going to defend them. Fuck these rich people. Fuck Elon. Fuck all these people. Like, Elon, you know, he's got some good stuff going. He says some good stuff, but, and I understand the whole asset thing, but it looks bad, dude. It looks bad. You know, he was the first trillionaire, whatever. Now it went back down. But it looks bad. It looks bad to people like me, man. Even though Elon says all this good shit, you know, I looked at Trump as the same way. He says all this good shit, and then he turns out like he flipped the script. Like, I know Elon could do the same thing. And it's just like, they don't want us thinking. They want us dumbed down, and then, like, they'll say, like, people come on here and they lie and they say, oh, we makes you dumb. I think it makes me think, you know. I think it opens my mind. That's what it does. This is my own personal experience, you know. Just coming up with different strategies or whatever. It's like, I can feel more, you know, like being a sober, I don't feel as much. So when I'm high, I feel more. Right now, I'm not smoking weed. The big reason why I'm not smoking weed is because I really can't afford it. It, and then I have to worry about if I get hurt at work, I have to take a drug test and I lose my job. Or if I have to switch jobs because of I don't like where I work, I have to take a drug test. So it's like, even though it's legal in my state, I still have to take drug tests, which it kind of pisses me off that I get low wages having to do grinding it out work for low pay, can't afford to go anywhere and do anything. So it's like, yeah, I want to smoke weed to pass the time because it makes me feel good. Is there something wrong with that? Like, people like to overeat because it makes them feel good. Like, people like to drink because it makes them feel good. People like to have a lot of sex because that makes them feel good. Like, what is the problem? And you know, what's worse for society, social media or marijuana? I've showed this. It's worse for society is social media, alcohol, tobacco. Maybe not tobacco, but tobacco is just like a physical thing. But hey, listen, I used to be on tobacco, and if I didn't have my nicotine every 15 half an hour, um, I became a jerk. I became highly irritable. So like, you constantly have to have your nicotine, and I'm seeing these social media influencers push nicotine as well. It's like, I just look at everything skeptical nowadays, and I hate it. I hate it. Like, I just want things to be easy, automatic, um, simple. Everything has to be complex for no reason. Um, it is quite ridiculous what Texas is doing. They want to have people incarcerated for smoking a joint. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Because these conservatives are so anti-marijuana. Fine. Then don't do it yourself. That's fine. You don't have to do it. And these same people will call me, oh, you're a leftist because you like weed. Well, my experience, I mean, when I smoked weed, I felt like it was a hobby, to be honest. Um, it helps my creativity. It helps me come up with different things for my simulation. And people, oh, it doesn't make you. Yes, it does help me in my creativity. It does. Um, there's a lot of, maybe for them, if they've done it, it doesn't. But for me, it does. And like I said, it calms me down. And this is what we have to deal with. It's just hypocrisy. If you're going to ban marijuana, then you might as well ban alcohol too, and everything that's bad. But they won't, because they're in favor of these companies and these industries. And the funny thing about marijuana is the fight between marijuana and hemp. They don't like hemp, so it's like some of these marijuana people are just the biggest hypocrites ever. Like, we're having like the biggest momentum and push, which we're not going back, by the way. We're not ever like, I can't say ever, but there's so much momentum with the youth. They would rather smoke weed than drink. Even boomers. There's so much momentum in favor of legalizing it. Even the president is like, hey, we need to reschedule this. And of course, Congress doesn't do anything, But yeah, there's so much momentum to it's like more, one people who drink are a lot less than people smoke. And I think they was saying, I don't know if it's true. This is what I'm seeing multiple times, that um, alcohol lost a ton. I don't know if it was 8 billion or $800 billion over the last 4 years, and marijuana has been going up big time. Well, because listen, man, I could smoke a joint, take a vape, depending on my tolerance, and I'll be fine to drive. And you can say that about alcohol too. Have a drink, whatever. But what does a drink really do? You know, you you're not really feeling much unless like you don't drink at all. Like if I was to have one little like a beer or something, I would probably feel it because I don't have any tolerance of alcohol. But if you're a regular drinker, one alcoholic beverage isn't going to do anything. If I smoke a joint and I'm a regular marijuana user, I'm going to get high. Now, if I do it all the time, like like I was like every hour or something like that, yeah, I'm not gonna get as I need to take some type of a break. And that's the thing. It's like I can be a marijuana addict, quit smoking weed. Yes, my dopamine's gonna be screwed up, but I know like physically, I'm not gonna be screwed up. Like I could die if I'm an alcoholic addict. I could die by just quitting cold turkey. And then you hear these people, have you ever noticed um former alcoholics like counting the days since they've had a beverage? Like they're obsessed with it. Yeah, for me, you know, I can quit for months, I can quit for years, and I'm not sitting here like counting down the days I've had a joint. No, but like these people, because they know how bad alcohol is for you. They know how much control it has over their lives. So if I quit weed, man, it's gonna suck the first couple of days. I'm gonna be irritable, just like it would be if I quit alcohol, just like it would be if I quit smoking cigarettes. But hey, by the way, do you know how I quit smoking cigarettes? I just smoked a lot of weed. Anytime I wanted a cigarette, I smoked weed. And I knew after so I just took a couple of days off of work because I knew it was like my body, once I got the over the it took like 2 days to get your body to not be addicted to it anymore. Then it's just a mental thing. Now, I don't know, it's over 20 years. I think the last time I had any cigarettes was like 2003-ish. I'm not sitting here looking at the calendar. Well, this is the last time I had a cigarette. But these people, and the funny thing is too about alcoholics, all it takes is one drink and they're back on the wagon. They just fell off the wagon. Marijuana it's just like, it's not a big deal compared to other things that are legal. Man, you can say the same thing about gambling. You can say the same thing about social media, with the dopamine stuff. It's like anything can be addictive, man. And this whole trope that they try to say is like people who smoke weed are lazy. Well, you need money to get the weed unless you grow it yourself. But you still have to pay your bills. You still have to figure out how to get money. So yeah, there are some people who smoke it all day and that's all they do. Yeah, there's some people who just masturbate to porn all day too. You know what I mean? There's some people that just gamble all day. Because there's people funding their lives. There's people that just play video games all day. Yeah, but is that happening everywhere? No, like you can be a pothead and be a contributor to society. And you know, when I was saying I smoked weed at the corn mill, at my current job I would never do that. And not just because I currently work there, I'm afraid to lose my job. No, because like there I was just walking around. I wasn't operating any machinery. Where I work now, I operate heavy machinery. So I can hurt somebody else or myself, especially somebody else where I'm at. So I want to be completely sober. And plus like when I was in the corn mill, I was pretty isolated, so I wasn't around a lot of people. Where I'm at now, I'm around a lot of people. So since there, you know, I didn't, even if I decided to, let's just say like where I'm at, like I don't have to operate shit machinery no more, I still wouldn't want to do it at work because I'm around people and I have to try to act like I'm not high. I hated that. So whenever I was at the corn mill, you know, I would go off walking, checking the pipes, making sure that everything is flowing properly. Maybe I will go clean some stuff up on some of these floors. When I come back, and then here comes the supervisor, which was rare for the supervisor to go into the office. I had to like act like I'm not high. You know what I mean? So like, I couldn't imagine doing that where I work because I work with a lot more people now. I worked with a small crew over there, and it's just different. You know, it's it kind of was like being a security guard, to be honest. You just have your routines, and you know, I cut it off in the morning. Like I'm like, okay, I have to start driving at 7 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, I'm done. So I go put my pen up in my locker, and that would be it. Then I would drive home sober. So different places you can get away with being high at work. It's not really a big deal. And I know, oh, this stigma. Hey, listen, man. It really helped me get through the night. You know, being sober all the time. I've done it before. This was pretty brutal, but when I worked at the paper manufacturing plant, when I had to switch shifts, it wasn't, yeah, I had shifts where I would go in at 7 o'clock at night and then work till 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that. But it would switch after like 2 days. Then I'd have to go work 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 p.m. Like that was brutal. And in that environment, I wouldn't have smoked weed, but because I operated heavy machinery. But there was a fire watch thing, where I actually liked Firewatch. You know, it was kind of like being a security guard. You make your rounds every hour. You walk through the facility, make sure that there's no fires and stuff like that. I wasn't operating any machinery. I didn't smoke weed there because I didn't smoke weed at that time. But like doing something like that, who cares? If I was in an office doing office stuff, who cares if I'm high? As long as it doesn't affect my work. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but it's not really a big, unless I'm operating heavy machinery or I'm having to deal with, dude, you're just answering emails, you're just sitting at your desk all day, like, you have to be there, and it's not really that big of a deal. It really isn't. But like I said, if you're operating heavy machinery, it is a big deal. Like I don't want to get I can't get my fingers cut off. I can get fingers cut off anyway. I don't want to be inebriated at all. But and then they'll sit here and listen to this video like people get high at work, blah blah blah. People drink at work. And if it was me, and if I had a company, and people weren't using heavy machinery, they're people in the office. Like I wouldn't give a shit if they were high at work. That's me. As long as they're being productive, and they're not getting hurt or doing anything like that, I don't give a damn. Hit your vape. Who cares? This shit sucks anyway. We don't want to fucking be here. We don't want to do this shit. At least make it a little bit more tolerable. But if it does affect your work, then you shouldn't be doing it. Like when I worked at the Decorum, it didn't affect me. I didn't mess up. I didn't have any problems. I did everything hunky dory. So, yeah, I would, as long as everyone's being productive, we're doing what we need to do. I wouldn't give a damn if people. I would rather people smoking weed than drinking alcohol. Hey, listen, man. It would be best if we don't do any of it. But guess what? Like, this life is extremely stressful nowadays. We gotta cope with how we gotta do it. We don't have the family structure anymore where everybody's out for themselves. We needed to have something to cope. You can't just sit here and pay us crap wages and to do a job we don't want to do anyway, and expect us just to want to be sober all the time. You know what I mean? Like, what is the problem with me lighting up a joint when I get home off of work? I don't understand what the problem is. I get it. Like I said, some places when you're dealing with heavy machinery or stuff like that, you could hurt other people, you could hurt yourself. You don't want to smoke weed, or you don't want to get high. But if you like this, oh my gosh, I'm at the paper cut. Like I'm gonna hurt myself with a paper cut. If it's not affecting your, some people will make you more productive. Because you zone in. Because like somebody like me, who has a problem concentrating on just one thing all the time, it helps me concentrate. Oh, that's bad. Hey, listen. What if I take like a Xanax? What if I take one of these antidepressants and I'm an office worker? Listen, man, like how many women are on antidepressants? How many women are in the workforce? I've heard of things that like 25% of women are like antidepressants. So like it's okay for them to do that, but like I can't take an edible. I can't take a couple hits off of vape. Like I said, Heavy machinery, don't do that, because you need to be alert. You're walking around, you're an office person. That's basically what I was in the corn mill. I basically was an office person. I spent over half the time, and there's people that spend their whole time in an office. I willingly actually went out and did more cleaning than most people because I just wanted to get the day over, the night over. But like, what, as long as I'm not messing up my work, what does it really matter? Seriously. I don't know. I'm in the minority with this, which I usually am with a lot of things, but I also do feel like I'm ahead of the curve on a lot of things as well. So I've said this before, where employers are going to have to get used to seeing Gen Z on their phones. They're going to have to get used to this. And here's the thing, too. What's funny to me is I worked at multiple places, and they ban cell phone use on the floor for commons, right? But then the leaders, come out here on their cell phones, not paying attention to anything going on around them. Like, what kind of leadership is that? That's enough.